Welcome to the news on Zodiac. You're with me, Robert Kalua. First, let's have a look at the headlines. We start with news that health experts Dorothy Ngoma has challenged the National Organization of Nurses and Midwifery, NOM, to consider converting all nursing midwifery technicians to registered nurses to meet international standards. Ngoma, who is a former president of NOM, made the remarks in Lilongwe when NOM launched its first ever journalist journal for nurses, where she observed that the position of nurse and midwifery technician is irrelevant as it is not recognized on the international stage. John Pokayuni has more in this report.
Dorothy Ngoma is concerned that Malawi still has the cadre of nurse midwife technicians, while other countries have phased out this, and the International Body of Nurses does not recognize the cadre anymore. She was speaking in Lilongwe on Wednesday when the National Organization for Nurses and Midwives of Malawi launched a journal for nurses. Ngoma, who is also presidential advisor on safe motherhood, therefore asked the National Organization for Nurses and Midwives of Malawi to ensure all nurse midwife technicians are converted into registered nurses in line with international standards.
Issue of recognition, the naming and recognition of these individuals at international level, because locally they are recognized as professional nurses because they are wonderful. They are very well trained, and we trust them at the bedside. 24 hours they are providing care to us. But when we come now to saying who is the professional nurse,
National Organization of Nurses Midwives of Malawi President Shouts Simeza says they encourage all nurse midwife technicians to upgrade their qualifications for them to be registered nurses.
We have a syllabus now to have the NMTs go to universities, so Kuhes, Zuni and other universities for only 3 years to become registered nurses at degree level. For
one to be a registered nurse, they are supposed to have a bachelor's degree as their highest qualification, while nurse midwife technicians are those whose highest qualification is a diploma. This is John Paul Kayuni for Zodiac.
Some stakeholders have called for initiatives that can sustain school feeding programs in public primary schools in efforts aimed at improving education standards in the country. District Chief Education Officer for Nkodagota, Godfrey Kumbwete, says empowering communities to grow crops for such programs can go a long way in the efforts. He said this yesterday during the official handover ceremony of the classrooms which Malawi Half Swindle organization has constructed at Chipanga Primary School in the district. We have more from Winston Kaimira.
There was joy among people in the area of Senior Chief Kanyenda in Nkotagora district as Malawi Health Swindle organization presented to the community around Chipanga Primary School 4 newly constructed classrooms, 4 rehabilitated school blocks, an office block, a kitchen and stores, as well as pit latrines. Chairperson for the organization, Conrad Yes, says the support follows an observation that the school had shortage of infrastructure affecting its operations. He added that the organization is empowering surrounding communities in agriculture to ably support a school feeding program apart from installing a solar-powered piped water system.
We have now 11 farmers club that we developed here in this area with more than 450 farmers in there. They all get trained in these different things. So this is what we do. We empower the people here to sustain something like school feeding for the children, because if you have an empty stomach, how can you learn?
Nkotagora District Chief Education Officer Godfrey Kubwese has since commended the organization for the support.
He is indeed supporting this particular school by empowering the community to grow crops because they are guarded. They do provide the inputs and they grow crops, and these crops they happen to be used for cooking for the learners to eat before they start their classes. And indeed, we have seen there's an impact.
Challenges such as limited space and hunger affecting learners are among those hindering provision of quality education in the country. Winston Kaimira, Zodiac, Kota.
Vice President Michael Usi has challenged least developing countries to be aggressive in pushing for climate financing as they attend this year's conference of parties in Azerbaijan to protect over 1 billion people facing different climate change inducted challenges in the region. He was speaking in Lilongwe during a least developing countries meeting where he said it should not be a business as usual approach to attract a pool of resources to address climate challenges in the 45 African nations. We have more from Western Good.
According to Usi, it should not be a tradition to lobby but get no results because the lives and future of over 1 billion people in the 45 least developed countries depend on the voices that those in the lead make at the Conference of Parties in Azerbaijan this year, for instance. The Vice President says that this is no time to get academic with climate change issues, but wake up and take action and address the challenges that are getting worse and pushing people to the edge each year. He thus says there should be candid talks with developed countries based on realities of climate change, which can unlock finances and not lead to more unfulfilled commitments.
What the issue is, the variance between what is given to confront these challenges and what is promised. The variance is so glaring, so much that Malawi, like many other LPCs, they are grappling to recover. And this affects even our standing on a global economy. That is a challenge.
The UNDP country representative in Malawi, Fenella Frost, has warned that inaction on climate change will continue, causing serious consequences, which needs swift response in agriculture activities, for example.
Having a strong, unified voice from the LDC group is absolutely essential to delivering the high expectations that are awaited from this COP29, what is sometimes referred to informally as the finance COP. Yes, there was great progress made at the last COP in terms of having these general commitments, but the key outcome that is expected from the COP29 is to have real deliverables for the LDC group, and no one can speak to that more powerfully than the LDC countries themselves.
At least 68 million people in Southern Africa alone are facing devastating hunger, flooding and calamities that are a result of climate shocks which they do not even contribute to but get no redress for. I'm Western Kuta in Lilongwe.
First Deputy Speaker of Parliament Madalitso Gazombo says parliamentary committees are failing to exercise their oversight role on critical issues affecting marginalized groups due to limited funding, and has since urged other organizations to come to their rescue. Gazombo made the appeal on Wednesday in Lilongwe during an engagement on deepening gender responsive budgeting in Malawi, organized by the Center for Civil Society, strengthening in partnership with the Scottish National Party, Westminster Foundation for Democracy. Let's now have a look at how the Malawi kwacha is faring against major currencies in the world, according to the Reserve Bank of Malawi. That's how the Malawi Kwacha is faring against major currencies of the world, according to the Reserve Bank of Malawi. You're watching the news on Zodiac, and this afternoon you're with me, Robert Kalua. We'll be back with more soon after this.
Life moves fast, and so should your packages. Say goodbye to waiting and hello to convenience with Post Courier, your go-to courier service. When you choose Post Courier, you're choosing speed, reliability, and peace of mind. I can always count on Post Courier for quick and safe deliveries. They never let me down.
Welcome back. Let's have a look at the headlines as we continue. National Organization of Nurses and Midwifery advised to convert all nursing midwifery technicians to registered nurses to meet international standards. Some stakeholders call for initiatives to sustain school feeding programs in public primary schools. Economic Freedom Movement asks government to put youth as primary beneficiaries of AIP. And in sports, Football Association of Malawi says it's ready to host the 2024 FTH Bank Cup final at Bingu National Stadium in Lilongwe. Moving on with the news, some youths under the banner Economic Freedom Movement have asked government through the Ministry of Agriculture to actually put youths as primary beneficiaries of the Affordable Inputs Program. The movement's president, Joseph Pesci, says they believe young people have the energy to produce more food through a farming license. Kasim Aubi has more.
President of the Economic Freedom Movement, Joseph Pesci, says young people should be empowered to take charge of the country's food security, and to achieve this, they, among others, need to be primary beneficiaries of the Affordable Inputs Program. He also said the country needs to invest more in the manufacturing of goods from agricultural produce and some minerals the country has, arguing this would help the country reduce heavy dependence on foreign aid, which he said is not sustainable.
And there's no any nation in the world that developed through the donations. We need to rise up. We need to do the right thing by making sure that we are working hard in manufacturing, in agricultural product, so that we should be able to sell a lot of things for us to be able to generate enough income. But Minister of Agriculture Principal Secretary Dixie Kampani says the youth should take advantage of other existing programs such as AGCOM, NIF and NICOM, the ministry and partners introduced to help youths participate in commercial farming. Meanwhile, Luana-based agriculture expert Horace Piri says the call by the youth should be tested first.
The first thing is, I think any suggestions on how we can improve the program are welcome. But just like any other opinion, I think it needs to be tested, it needs to be checked to see whether it's something that has to be considered and be reviewed.
Recently, the Ministry of Agriculture announced that some groups such as the elderly and those with disabilities will not be part of AIP beneficiaries, and instead they will be covered in other social programs such as the social cash transfer. This, according to the ministry, is aimed at ensuring that only those who can actively participate in farming take part in the program. For Zodiac in Lilongwe, this is Kasim Aubi reporting.
The National Youth Council of Malawi says the country is unlikely to achieve the Malawi 2063 vision if it does not incorporate youth in decision-making processes. Its board chairperson Duncan Chiani says the youth have been neglected in a lot of development projects, with only 10% being involved in such, thereby asking stakeholders to put the youth as the center of development initiatives to change the status. Zuleka Nanguo has more.
Board chairperson for the National Youth Council of Malawi, Duncan Chiani, says time has come for the country to start working with the youth in all sectors. He observed that they have been sidelined in most sectors, such as politics and NGO. He says through the strategic plan, they are being deliberate on how best to address the gaps and challenges that are facing the youth in the country.
Our consultant did was that you see that in most places, in most spaces, youth are not well represented. Actually, you can think of even in the parliament, you can think of even the councillors, even the political circles, even in the NGO sector and in many other sectors. You see that the youth are really not given that chance, or there is a very limited number of people who are there. You know, the National Youth Policy talks of the percentage of representation of the youth, even in governance structures, in various spaces, but you see that we're not there yet. The evaluation shows that it's only maybe 10% representation of the youth in most of these important spaces.
Youth Ambassador for Plan International Malawi, Maria Chavula, has singled out limited access to youth-friendly services as one of the challenges affecting them, believing that the strategic plan will help address such issues.
This platform is well organized, whereby as young people we have raised the issues that affect us, and also we have come across solutions or the points that the organization can take into consideration when they are doing implementation of different projects.
Among others, the strategic plan will also empower the youth to be self-reliant, observing that they have a dependency syndrome. Zuleika Nanguo, Zodiac, Lilongwe.
Lilongwe-based Bube's Pride Foundation, a local non-government organization which utilizes sports to foster development and empowering the youth, has launched a new 4-year program designed to enhance life opportunities for young people through sports leadership. The organization's executive director, Nohara Chinguo, says in the next 4 years, some 13,000 youths aged between 17 and 25 will be trained in life skills, leadership capabilities, and knowledge of sexual reproductive health and rights.
So it is a very insightful program, a sports for development program, whereby us as Bube's Pride Foundation, we have partnered with Youth Sports Strat International, whereby over the course of the next 4 years, we'll train teachers as local trainers who intend to be training young people as youth sport leaders who will be training young ones in the sports festival. So through this program, they should be able to learn teamwork, collaboration, as well as communication skills and be good leaders. It is a very, very unique link because we saw like today we had relay games where young people were supposed to be passing the ball from one end to the other. Through this, they were learning communication as well as collaboration so that they should be able to achieve to move that ball to the other sector. At the same time, we're also trying to use them as young leaders. For example, for the youth young sport leaders that we're using in this program, what we're exactly doing is that they should be able to organize events like this. They should be able to organize young people within their communities to take part in these activities, thereby trying to cultivate in them leadership skills. So one of our biggest expectations and goals is that we should be able to reach not less than 13,000 participants. This includes teachers, young leaders, as well as children. But not only that, we hope to extend this program into other districts and not only work in Lilongwe.
United Kingdom-based charity organization Youth Sports Trust International will bankroll the project to the tune of £400,000 until 2028. Vivian Hort is one of the organization's senior officials.
Well, there are big expectations in the 4 years. So first of all, we want to see more local tutors trained so that other districts benefit from this program. That is the first thing. We want to create national trainers for Malawi so that they take the program forward. We no longer come. We empower others to take the program forward. We want to give more young people the chance to be young sport leaders, because we don't only develop their sporting talent, we also enable them to develop their entrepreneurship and to consider mental health and well-being. So we build a program that will empower them in sport, but also help them in life. At the end of 4 years, what we hope to see are many, many more local tutors, many, many more young leaders, many more children benefiting from activities, but more importantly than that, we want to see the Malawian government and district councils embed this program as a program of choice in their strategic plans.
And finally, in sports, the Football Association of Malawi says it is ready to host the 2024 FDH Bank Cup final at the Bingu National Stadium in Lilongwe, featuring lower division side Blue Eagles and defending champions FC Binyasa Big Bullets this Sunday. A farm commercial and marketing manager Tulipo Mwenerupembe told us that the FA has already rolled out a pre-sale of tickets to properly manage the game, apart from ramping up security measures ahead of the final match. The champions of the FDH Bank Cup will walk away with 35,000 kwacha richer. And that's about what we have time for in this edition of news. Before we leave you, let's have a look at the headlines one more time. National Organization of Nurses and Midwifery advised to convert all nursing wifery technicians to registered nurses to meet international standards. Some stakeholders call for initiatives to sustain school feeding programs in public primary schools. Economic Freedom Movement asks government to put youths as primary beneficiaries of AIP. And in sports, Football Association of Malawi ready to host the 2024 FDH Bank Cup final at the Bingu National Stadium in Lero. Visit zodiacmalawi.com for more. My name is Robert Kalwa. Thanks for watching and have a lovely day.
Get ready.